Let's say that I had the following number, and I'm just going to write it out. So I have this number. And what I want to do is think about how many hundreds, how many tens, and how many ones do I have? Well, to figure that out, we can just look at the place value. So we know this right over here is the ones place. We know this tells us how many tens we have. So we have 3 tens. And this tells us how many hundreds we have. So you can view this number, 832, as being the same thing as 800s. So 800s is the same thing as 800 plus 3 tens. Well, 3 tens is the same thing as 30. 10 plus 10 plus 10, 10, 20, 30. And then 2 ones, well, that's just the same thing as 2. And so you could write 832 as 800 plus 30 plus 2. And this form right over here is called expanded form. And that makes sense because in a lot of ways it looks like you've expanded this number out. You're writing it in terms of a certain number of hundreds, tens, and ones. So let me give you another example. I want you to tackle that by yourself. So let's say I had this number right over here. Pause this video and see if you can write this in expanded form. Okay, now let's do this together. Well, it's the same idea. How many hundreds do I have here? Well, I could go to the hundreds place and see that there are 4 hundreds. 4 hundreds is the same thing as 400. And then in the tens place, I have 110. Well, 110 is the same thing as just 10. And then last but not least, in the ones place, I have 5. I have 5 ones. So this is the same thing as 400 plus 10 plus 5 in expanded form. Now, what if you were to go the other way around? What if I were to give you something in expanded form, say the following, like this? How would you write that as a number? And sometimes people would just call this standard form. Well, some of you might just say, well, if I add 700 to 4, I'm going to get 704, and that's right. Or you could think about them in terms of place values. If we think about hundreds place, a tens place, and ones place, how many hundreds do we have? Well, we can see right over here we have 7 hundreds. So you'd put a 7 right over there. How many tens do we have? Well, we have nothing expressed in terms of tens here, so we could write it as 0 tens. And then last but not least, how many ones do we have? We see that right over here. 4 ones. You could write it just like that.